Welcome to KITPLUS TV. Joining me today is Raj Patel from Mediaproxy. Raj, good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you, Dick.
When I think of Mediaproxy, I think of compliance, the need to record a station's output. Tell me about compliance and tell me why it's mandatory in some territories.
Again, thank you, Dick. Compliance is mandatory in most countries, actually. You need, the basics are that you need a recorded output, your recorded output. In some countries, it has to be kept for 90 days, in others for many years. We actually have a customer who actually sends it to the National Archive. So there's that. The other side of it is on what's been played out before the watershed. So before the 9 o'clock here, 10 o'clock now. And is it of adult content? Commercial channels have to show how many commercials were played out in a particular hour and what kind of commercial during children's programming. So compliance in that sense is just making sure what was played out is legally right for that time of day. Then we move on to compliance being, was the teletext there? Was subtitling there? In digital insertion, so SCSI triggers, were the right adverts played out at the right time? So there's compliance there, is a whole tool set of requirements that you need to meet. And compliance for us is our history. That's where we came from. But compliance actually is boring because all you're doing is recording. Nowadays, it's actually having the tool set behind it that allow you to do other things. So, but the main thing with compliance is that it has to be reliable and flexible, because by law, you have to record 24 hours a day or however long the channel's been played out for. And if you miss something, you are legally in trouble for it.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, I can remember the days when compliance recording meant a room with a whole stack of VHS recorders and a man whose job was to write dates and times onto the labels of VHS tapes. Mediaproxy's solution is much more slick than that. So how is that helping broadcasters, first of all, get over the fact that you've got to do it, and second, to make it a valuable asset rather than just an unfortunate and costly necessity?
Exactly. I mean, people do think of it as an afterthought. They don't think of it as this is what we need. They look at the automation system, they look at the traffic system, and they look at all the other systems around it. But compliance is, well, we've got to record it. So we've come up with a set of tools that are web browser based around our log server application, which allows for 24-hour monitoring. But the more interesting part is analysis and multi-viewing, in the sense that you can see a problem, drill down, deep dive into it and have a look at it. And as we move away from the traditional just broadcast signal, our tools are also the same in the OTT world. So, the user is only looking at one screen. But more than that, because you've got this rich archive of material that you've just recorded, your promo department might want to do a quick promo to put out on social media to say, we played out this, but on catch up, you can now watch it. So that sort of thing. Again, also, engineers are not tied to their desk. So suddenly, how do we have mobile interfaces on your phone and your tablet. So, the engineer could be at home, sees a problem, because it's all web-based. He sees a problem. He can deep dive into the solution and check what's going on.
Sure. Okay. So all of the talk in broadcast infrastructures nowadays is moving away from the traditional, from the SDI, towards IP, towards computer-to-computer connections. How do you fit into this new normal, this new networked solution and standards like SMPTE 2110 or ATSC3? I'll get it right at the third attempt.
Yeah, I get confused with those as well, and I will do now. So we actually were at the forefront with AIMS. We were quite high up in joining the group. So we support SMPTE 2026, 22-6, SMPTE 2110. We already support 4K, HEVC, we do TS over IP, HLS, MPEG Dash. We also now support ZigZee and SRT. So we support all these standards. And we have great experience within the company of supporting these and understanding what these formats mean. So for us, we're not just a software vendor that says, here's our product. For us, it's sharing these experiences and expertise with the customer. But also the other way around is that we learn from our customers. So if a customer wants to move to 2110, it's new to, they're finding things out that they want to do. And they're coming back to us saying, this is how we want to work in 2110, or as we call it, media over IP. We then go on a journey with them, learning from them and they learning from us. For example, with the sad demise of Volacom in our industry, all you see in the media PR and everything is buy a Volacom replacement. But if a customer wants to move to 2110 in, say, 6 months' time or 8 months, a year's time, why would you just want a straight SDI replacement source box? What we do is we sit down with them and say, how many channels do you have? Well, when do you want to move to the new media over IP standards? And we're not going to sell them a box that's just SDI. We're going to sell them a box that's future-proof. So it's minimal cost in OPEX and CAPEX. So they learn, the user's already using our interfaces. The CAPEX side is they've bought the server. They only need now to add network cards and remove the capture cards. But we're going to tell them that. The system built around that will give them all these expertise. And the other side of it is also, with all these new media over IP standards, customers are moving to exception-based monitoring and high channel counts. So we have an NOC in Sydney where they're monitoring hundreds of channels, but only 4 operators per shift. They're not looking at pictures, they're looking at red and green lights. And because our multi-viewer is interactive, they can actually deep dive then into what's actually going on. So they can look at the picture, they can look at other things going on, the profiles of the OTT streams, they can actually check what's there. So it becomes that you can monitor large channel counts in one facility.
And obviously one of the benefits of the new sort of broadcast hardware, including Mediaproxy, is that it's fundamentally software. So it's quite easy for you to do a remote demonstration. The fact that we're not in Amsterdam this week is less of a problem because you can do a one-to-one and show people online the system working with their content.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if they go to our website, mediaproxy.com, there's lots of information there. And in the top right-hand corner is a tab saying webinars, register here. So they can click on that. They can sign up for a one-to-one demonstration. We also have we have remote servers running that people can test their own software with, and we're always happy to give our software away for POCs and testing to potential customers.
Raj, that's great. Thank you very much indeed. That link to Mediaproxy is on screen now. And if you want to hear more from KITPLUS TV, then go to kitplus.com.
Thanks a lot, Dick.